Little boxes on the hillside aren't for everyone. While some people might be content with a cookie-cutter home in a bland suburban neighborhood, others create truly one-of-a-kind homes with incredibly imaginative shapes and materials. In addition to the 70 amazing houses around the world that we've featured before, here are 15 jaw-dropping examples of architecture, from a decaying wooden skyscraper in Russia to a mushroom-shaped home in Cincinnati that looks like it was custom-made for Dr. Seuss. 1. Bar Prince House, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Architect Bar Prince is renowned for his incredibly creative approach to designing structures. The homes he has created look nothing like the boxy houses you and I live in. They're quirky, they're organic, and they're most definitely one of a kind. Prince says his designs start from the inside out, and that every home he builds has an idea behind it. Pictured are Prince's own home in Albuquerque Top and the Seymour residence in Los Altos, California. 2. Dar al Hajar, Yemen. This striking rock palace is not a hotel or a museum. It's not even a primary residence. Dar al Hajar was built as a summer home by Imam Yahya in the 1930s, and it's a stunning example of rock-cut architecture. Standing at the base of this imposing structure, you have to crane your neck to see the top. The palace has since been restored so that visitors can buy a ticket and get a breathtaking 360-degree view of the surrounding landscape. 3. Bubble House, Tourettes-sur-Loup, France. The Bubble House of Tourettes-sur-Loup, France, is only 35 years old and has yet to be finished, but that hasn't stopped the French Ministry of Culture from listing it as a historic monument. Designed in the 70s by Hungarian architect and beloved for fashion designer Pierre Cardin, the Bubble House is futuristic yet organic, with lots of built-in furniture and oval, convex windows. The design is meant to take optimal advantage of the volcanic Côte d'Azur landscape, and its windows certainly provide a beautiful view of the Mediterranean. 4. Wooden Skyscraper, Arkhangelsk, Russia. Nikolai Suweon, the former gangster, began building this wooden skyscraper in Arkhangelsk, Russia, with the intention of it being only a two-story building. But the trip to see wooden houses in Japan and Norway convinced him that he hadn't used roof space efficiently enough, so he kept building. First I added 3 floors, but then the house looked ungainly, like a mushroom, he said. So I added another and it still didn't look right, so I kept going. What you see today is a happy accident. The multimillionaire became a pauper after his possessions were destroyed during a stint in prison, and the house is now decaying around him, but he still lives in the bottom floor with his wife. 5. The Upside Down House, Szymbark, Poland. Polish businessman and philanthropist Daniel Zajewski built the Upside Down House as a statement about the communist era and the end of the world. It took 114 days to build because the workers were so disoriented by the angles of the walls. It certainly attracts its fair share of tourists to the tiny village of Szymbark, who often become dizzy and seasick after just a few moments inside. 6. Hangenga Village, Dalat, Vietnam. Looking like something out of a child's fairy tale gone wrong, the bizarre-looking structure in Dalat, Vietnam was built by the daughter of Ho Chi Minh's right-hand man. Madame Hangenga created the Hangenga Village, now known simply as Crazy House, to reflect her interest in art and architecture. Made of concrete, the house now serves as a restaurant and reception area for an adjacent French colonial-style hotel in a jolting contrast in architectural styles. The inside is said to be even stranger, with all the kitschy decor you can handle, including a giant eagle with red Christmas light eyes, for the Americans. 7. Toilet-shaped house, Suweon, South Korea. The world's one and only toilet-shaped house was built to mark the launch of the World Toilet Association, a campaign for more sanitary restrooms worldwide. Szymbark, nicknamed Mayor Toilet, had the 4,508 square foot concrete and glass structure built in his native city of Suweon, South Korea. At the center of the home is a glass-walled showcase that produces mist to make users feel more secure. Sim, who was born into a toilet and has made clean restrooms his life's work, now lives in the home. 7. Eliphante and Hippodome, Cornville, Arizona. Called the Eliphante House for the look of its entrance, this sculptural home was created by artist Michael Kahn and his wife Lida Eliphante with found materials over a period of 28 years. Eliphante and several outbuildings occupy 3 acres of land and incorporate rocks and scraps from construction sites. There was never any kind of floor plan for Eliphante, it just sort of evolved. Ms. Eliphante's residence on the property is the Hippodome, a mosaic-covered creation that looks like a hippo emerging from a lake. 8. Inversion House, Houston, Texas. When 2 old studio buildings owned by the Art League in Houston were set to be demolished, they decided to take the opportunity to turn them into a temporary art installation. Artists Dan Hovell and Dean Ruck sculpturally altered the 2 buildings, peeling off the exterior siding of the front building to simulate the appearance of a funnel-like vortex. The opening was actually a tiny hallway only kids could fit through it that passed through the 2 structures and emptied out into an adjacent courtyard. 10. Shoe House, South Africa. The Shoe House of South Africa is the work of artist and hotelier Ron Van Zyl, who built it for his wife Yvonne in 1990. The shoe house is a little museum of sorts, showcasing Van Zyl's wood carvings. The shoe is part of a complex that includes an 8-chalet guest house, campsite, restaurant, pool and bar. 11. Mushroom House, Cincinnati, Ohio. Architect Terry Brown created this much-maligned mushroom house, an unusual piece of architecture situated in a rather upscale area of Cincinnati. Brown's architectural style developed when he began experimenting with materials like wood, colored glass, shell, ceramics and various metals to create irregular shapes that mimic those found in nature. A professor of architecture and interior design at the University of Cincinnati, Brown frequently had to defend the unique design of the house against complaints by neighbors before passing away in 2008. 12. Floating House, Ukraine. An optical illusion trick of Photoshop. Nobody really seems to know much about this supposed floating barn which was reportedly located in Ukraine and may or may not still be standing. Cantilevered barns do exist, mostly in the Appalachian region of the United States, but usually aren't quite this dramatic looking. Real or fake, it's certainly pretty striking. 13. Space House, Signal Mountain, Tennessee. The Space House in Signal Mountain, Tennessee was built by Curtis King and his sons in the 1970s and is quite a draw for curiosity seekers in the area, who have been filing by and taking photos for decades. 6 concrete support pillars look like landing gear beneath the main part of the building. The Space House sold on the auction block in March 2008 but the buyer defaulted, so it's being offered for whatever the public is willing to pay on December 14. 14. Crooked House, Sopot, Poland. From Poland comes another interesting building, the Crooked House. The design was inspired by the drawings of Polish artists January Marcinkiewicz and Per Dahlberg, which have a whimsical and Dali-esque feel. It's not actually a house, it's part of a shopping complex. But it's very cool all the same, with its surreal angles and blue-green glass. 15. Hundertwasser House, Vienna, Austria. Austrian artist Friedensreich Regent Top Dunkelbund Hundertwasser may not be well known across most of the world, but anyone who has visited Vienna knows of his iconic creation, the Hundertwasser House. It's an apartment complex characterized by patchwork paint, undulating floors, the incorporation of vegetation and a facade with seemingly no rhyme or reason to its structure. Hundertwasser reportedly took no payment for designing it, considering it a public service to prevent something ugly going up in its place.